Alright, before we get started, I am very much aware that Mr. Nogami once stated in an interview that the average height of an Inkling is 150 centimeters. Or if you want to be more precise, that's 4'11", and if you want to round, that's 5 feet. And 5 feet is the most well-known answer when it comes to the Inkling's height. So before you go down to the comments and type in 5 feet, just hear me out. I know that we know quite a lot about Inklings. We know that they could turn into squids, into kids, they have no bones, and that they may even be cannibals. But here's the thing, do you really believe that an Inkling is 5 feet tall? Or are they much smaller than we've ever imagined they would be? Well, with that being said, let me welcome you to Have You Ever Wondered, the series in which we talk about questions that no one has probably ever asked before. Whether the question is logical or just outright crazy, we talk about it. And I am your host, Red, and today I'll be asking, have you ever wondered, what is the true height of an Inkling and Octoling? Because we can't forget about them either. Okay, well, I didn't mean to drag that out too long, but let's get started. Inklings. How tall are they? Well, there's no official height for Inklings and Octolings just yet, unless you recall for what Mr. Nogami said, but there is a height for both Pearl and Marina that came from the Splatoon 2 art book and is now in the wiki, which states that Marina is 178 centimeters, or 5'10", and Pearl is 145 centimeters, or 4'9". But also, in a sunken scroll, it is stated that an Inkling can leap up to 5 feet. And in-game, your Inkling can jump over another Inkling perfectly. So, if we put 2 and 2 together, and use the height of Pearl and Marina, their ability to leap 5 feet in the air, and what Mr. Nogami said, it could be well assumed that Inklings stand at 5 feet tall. Well, I guess there's really no point on making this video if they actually are 5 feet. So, I guess I'll see you guys later. Wait. Mr. Nogami did say 150 centimeters. If he had to guess. You know what? Okay, that's a good enough excuse to come back and make the video. Anyways, like I was saying, 5 feet may be the most well-known answer among the community, but if you take a deeper look into the game and look around at all the clues and hints that are just scattered around the world, you may actually find out that an Inkling is probably much smaller than 5 feet, and I've actually found various examples to provide some kind of evidence that Inklings are much smaller than you'd think. And it all starts with everyone's favorite Octo expansion. Alright, so what we gotta do is head on over to the Deep Sea Metro, because in certain levels, you will be able to see floating objects such as an NES, or a Game Boy, or a GameCube, or maybe even some Hubba Bubba. So, you may be saying now, well, what is this supposed to even do for us? And I'll tell you, because if we go on to a ledge where we can stand as close as possible to one of these objects, and the closest one I could find is this SNES cartridge with some form of F-Zero on it, but that doesn't matter because look at that. Do you see how small our Octoling is compared to this SNES game pack? This is insane! And all of these in the past could have actually been working game packs, because if we take a look at this N64 one, just like an N64 cartridge, it has a little slot where you could put it into your N64. Well, at least the human would put it into the N64. But now they can't, because they're dead. But anyways, if we look at the dimensions of an SNES cartridge, it is said to be 5.25 inches tall, 4.75 inches wide, and 0.75 inches thick. So, by taking these measurements and just looking at our Octoling, oh boy, we could really tell that our fella over here is a very eensy teensy tiny little Octo. And that's not all, because to further back this up, if you've ever played Salmon Run and checked the surroundings in the foreground, you'll spot some floating structures in the water with some food on them, such as asparagus, broccoli, corn, sausage, and tomatoes. And once again, what we'll do is head on over to the Lost Outpost Salmon Run stage and head over to this structure with corn on the cob. And even though it's a bit far away, our Inkling still looks really small compared to the corn on the structure. I'd even say that our Inkling is probably, I don't know, is merely an inch. So just imagine that. An Inkling is just an inch. So judging by both of these pieces of evidence, we can pretty much assume an Inkling is definitely much smaller than 5 feet, right? Well, yes and no. Because since we're in the topic of Salmon Run, I have to point out that in the newest stage, Ruins of Ark Polaris, there are bear tracks on the dirt, which may be Mr. Grizz's tracks, who is in reality a real grizzly bear, but that's like a whole different discussion. Let's not even mention there. Let's just say Mr. Grizz is a grizzly bear, to keep things simple. But if my facts, knowledge, and Google search serves me well, a grizzly bear's rear paw is 15 inches from heel to toe. And well, judging by our Inkling here, they seem to almost fit inside the paw print, and I'm pretty sure that these paw prints are definitely bigger than an SNES game pack. So I'm guessing an Inkling isn't an eensy-teensy tiny little creature. But then that just brings up the question, why is all the food so big? I mean, a way this could be explained is that all this food is just giant radioactive food due to the whole missile crisis that ended up melting the polar ice caps, thus causing the world of Splatoon. I really don't know, that's my reasoning for the food. But when it comes to the ginormous devices in Octo Expansion, I really don't know how I would explain that. Maybe they were just giant replicas built by someone. I'm not entirely sure why or how they were built. But that doesn't matter, because since we're in the topic of talking about Inklings being 1 to 2 feet, there's another way we can actually get this estimated height, and it may seem a bit of a stretch, but it's using their weapons, and 4 of them in particular, which are the End Zap, the Ink Brush, the Octo Brush, and the Splat Roller. And that's because these weapons are the closest that have a real-life counterpart, but the one we're going to take a closest look at is the End Zap, because when it comes to paint brushes and rollers, they can come in different shapes and sizes compared to an official Nintendo End Zap, which is a one-of-a-kind thing. So what we do now is let our Inkling hold onto this End Zap, and we take the measurements of it, which is around 11.4 inches in length. We can apply that to our Inkling, and... Ooh, wait a minute, hold on. Do I measure their hair as well? I mean, maybe I should, because wouldn't their hair sort of be a part of them, since in a way, it is their tentacles. And, I mean, it does give them a bit of a boost. So, you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like that. If you think otherwise, tell me in the comments below. But with that, let's just say that our Inkling is around 1 to 2 feet. Almost like a real-life squid. So now with all this inconsistent, jumbled mess of information, we can distinguish that Inklings and Octolings can either be 3 different heights. There's a regular human-like height of 5 feet, a smaller realistic squid size of 1 to 2 feet, or a very tiny little shrimp size of like around an inch. But the question we're trying to answer here is, what is the true height of an Inkling and Octoling? Because like I said before, can't forget about them either. And well, to solve this, there's only really one place we can go and find out, and that is Schellendorf Institute. So let's start with this display case showcasing an Inkling standing next to some kind of shark's teeth. I'm not entirely sure what kind of shark's teeth these could be, but if we do take a look over to the right, we'll be able to spot some chart comparing the size of an Inkling and 3 other sharks. We can't really tell what kind of sharks these are, but this chart does look very similar to this one, comparing the size of an ancient megalodon shark to a human. So let's just assume this chart is comparing the size of an Inkling and a megalodon, and the display case is comparing the megalodon's teeth to an Inkling. And if you've ever seen a picture of the megalodon's jaw compared to a human, it seems quite similar to what's being shown in the display case. So, With this brand new batch of evidence, this supports the fact that Inklings could be 5 feet tall, but nah. We haven't even scratched the surface of what the scholars of Schellendorf Institute have provided, because if we walk across the display case of the shark teeth, we'll see another display case of the great zapfish with some Inklings. And by the looks of this, the Inklings are much smaller compared to the great zapfish. But to find out how this will help us determine what size they are, we'll have to take a look at what kind of species the zapfish is in real life. And according to the most reliable website, Wikipedia, it states that the great zapfish is massive and more similar to the real-life electric catfish. So now that we know that the great zapfish is most similar to an electric catfish, we go find what size they can reach, and by doing a quick little search, it said that the largest can grow about 4 feet, but most other species are smaller and reach less than 1 foot long. And well, just by looking at our Zappy boy, I think it's safe to say that he may be the rare case of being 4 feet long. So now we go back to the display case with the idea that the great zapfish may be 4 feet long, and compare the model of the zapfish to the Inklings, and you know what? Yeah, this just proves that Inklings may be super little tiny shrimp people. I'm not entirely sure, man. Do you see this? What's going on? Like I said, it's just a bunch of continuous and inconsistent cycles of stature. But that's alright. That's okay. Because there is one more thing we can look at in the Schellendorf Institute. And to find it, we'll have to head on over to the edge of the stage and look down to see where it's hiding. There will be a bunch of display cases showing off various things such as a toaster, a Game Boy, a dial telephone, and oh cod, a human skeleton. We can use this to really get some info on the height of Inklings, but there's only one problem to this. We can't get down there. But there's no need to worry. We may not be able to get close to the display cases, but we can use the help of a friend who's already down there. The jellyfish. And from this very awkward angle, it seems like our jelly boy is around 1/3 of the height of the display case. But you know, things would be much easier if we could just get down there and look at the display cases ourselves. But, I mean, lucky for us, Splatoon 2 has already been out for 2 years, and people have been able to explore out-of-bounds areas just like these, so that's what we're gonna do! We're gonna check out a video that explores these out-of-bound areas. So thanks to Omar is For Real on YouTube, we can see clearer now, and we can see that the jelly by the display case actually seems to be much smaller than I previously stated, and in fact, it seems to be the same size of a toaster, but just a bit smaller. So that's pretty neat. But here's the thing, in the video, Omar is For Real guides the Inkling towards the human skeleton, and if we take a look at it, you can see that the Inkling is a lot smaller than the human skeleton. So with this evidence, we can say that the Inkling falls under the height of 1 to 2 feet. But alright, we found more evidence, Schellendorf Institute helped us out a little bit more, so now it's time for the real question. What is the true height of Inklings and Octolings? And the answer has to be that I don't know. Everything is so inconsistent and all over the place. When you find out one piece of evidence, another one pops up and completely contradicts what you previously found. Everything in this world seems to be in so many different shapes and sizes, and it's just never consistent enough because it all changes. Now let me just say, there's also a bunch of other things that I haven't even mentioned yet that could play into the part of figuring out the height of Inklings. Such as this door, the Deep Sea Metro, the Thing, the Nil statue, a bunch of sunken scrolls, these insects, pigeons, or the fact that Judd is a regular cat, and when you stand right next to him, he's almost your size, but when you look back into other sunken scrolls, he's just changing all over the place in size. But you know, that's the beauty of Splatoon. The entire series has only been around for 4 years, and there's still quite a lot of mystery surrounding the lore of the game, and that's what I like about it. diving into the game's lore and trying to come up with theories to whatever is going on in the world of Inklings and Octolings. And that's what I'm going to do. I am going to leave this to all of you. So, if you truly believe that Inklings are 5 feet tall, then go ahead, post that comment that's been waiting since the beginning of this video. I don't mind. But if you think otherwise, then feel free to tell me down in the comment section as well. I will try my best to go through every single comment and read whatever theories you can come up with. And hey, maybe in the future I'll talk about them in a part 2. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make a poll. So, right now, you may see in the top right corner, there is going to be a poll on what you believe the height of Inklings are. So, feel free to vote. And yeah, that's it. If you made it this far into the video, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But I would also appreciate it if you would subscribe and maybe hit that bell icon to get notified in the future whenever I come up with another Have You Ever Wondered? And trust me, you're going to want to hit it if you want more Splatoon theories, because I have a lot of topics that I still want to talk about. So make sure to hit that bell icon. And, follow us on Twitter, do all that stuff. But with that being said, I've been your host, Red, and I'm going to go sleep or something. So, good night, and have a good one.